Well, we are just waiting for the latest update from the FBI. You're looking at a picture of a room there where that news conference will be held. And of course, we'll take that to you live as soon as it begins. The FBI are going to speak about what they have discovered, their very, very latest information. But in the meantime, very quickly, Congressman Darrell Issa, the Republican from California, joins me now. Congressman, I think we may have to cut away in the middle of this. However, let me just say this. The FBI said this was not a terrorist attack initially. How did they get that so wrong?
Well, they get it wrong, unfortunately, particularly with a lone wolf, because they hadn't heard any chatter. They hadn't seen things that would make them believe that. But let's be candid. This is one of the hardest types of terrorist attack. Just as the Oklahoma City bombing was very difficult to see, a domestic soldier patriot who goes bad is going to be one of the hardest to find, and this is no exception.
Are you concerned that this could signal a wave of further attacks?
I'm concerned that there's always a possibility of copycats. I'm concerned that perhaps we're not looking enough at social media proactively. And this is, quite frankly, where AI should be able to, without getting in the way of people's First Amendment rights, should be able to detect the fact that people, even if it's an hour or 2 hours before an attack, seem to want to declare their allegiance or do something to make history. We've got to be more able to answer that kind of a threat in minutes, not in hours or days.
Do you think the attack in Las Vegas is connected at all?
It does seem to be. I mean, you know, this is not calling Uber. This is a more esoteric use of a rental car, B2B or personal, you know, C2C, I guess, almost, kind of a rental. So it does seem to be a coincidence that needs to be looked at very carefully. Again, domestic terrorism is hard. It's the reason that the Homeland Security was created, and they need to do a better job, and they need to start using AI more effectively.
And on top of that, Congressman, do you think we've become a little complacent with regard to the threat of terror?
There's no question. Eternal vigilance is going to be important, and it's one of the reasons that using predictive software models that don't get tired, they don't stop looking at images, they don't look and say, oh, we've seen this before. They constantly update and look and get smarter. And that's what we need to have. And the technology is available. We just need to implement it in a smart way.
It's another example, too, and I know this truck has been spotted crossing the border. It may not have been with this current suspect, and we haven't, you know, confirmed any connection with the border, but having an open border can lead to situations like this. It allows terrorists to come in and then disappear into the country.
Well, absolutely. We know that we have people that are on the terrorist watch list, countless numbers, that are here in the country and we don't know where they are. So in addition to this rather rare domestic homegrown, we do have people who very much might be planning something today and certainly have a history of terrorism.
Do you think the new Trump administration is coming at just the right time to reinforce the strength that's needed to stand up to these terrorists?
Well, candidly, I think we're coming in 4 years too late. This wouldn't have happened, and things like this would have been prevented if 4 years ago we'd continued on a trajectory of closing the border, modernizing our legal immigration process, and doing so in the way that President Trump was doing and wants to do it again. But now he has 10 million plus people that have to be sifted through.
That's right.
In addition to closing the border.
Congressman Darrell Issa, thank you, sir, for talking with us. We, as you can see on the screen now, FBI officials in New Orleans are about to give an update on the New Year's terror attack in New Orleans as we wait for the officials to come in. And again, news just a short while ago that the FBI believes there were no accomplices or other suspects to be tracked down. It's been somewhat fluid, as you would imagine, in a somewhat complicated investigation. There were concerns that others were involved in perhaps planting those explosive devices around New Orleans. There were a couple of IEDs, we understand, that were safely taken care of. But again, now we're hearing word that perhaps there was just this one individual who acted as a lone wolf, acted by himself. And of course, we're still waiting for an update on the exploding Cybertruck in Las Vegas. Was that connected to the New Orleans attack? And what do we know about that? We do know that a home in Colorado Springs was being looked at by the FBI this morning as part of that investigation into the Las Vegas explosion. So again, you're looking at a picture of the room in New Orleans where we are awaiting the FBI officials to come in. The FBI, of course, leading this investigation, but using many other agencies to help them do this. We know that a home that we believe belonged to the suspect just north of Houston, Texas, has been thoroughly searched. We don't know what, if anything, was discovered in that search, but maybe that is something that we're going to hear in an update here. But again, the FBI, from the very beginning, has been taking the lead here. At first, it was unsure, as we just discussed with Congressman Darrell Issa. Was this a terrorist attack? And Congressman, I understand you're still with us, so thank you for that. You know, look, we love the freedom in this country, but with it comes a price.
Well, absolutely. And look, the fact is that you can't tell the difference between 10 million people who have come over the border that we don't know who they are, and 10 million people who might act as lone wolves. So what we have to do is we have to be prepared to sift through information, use it intelligently, be proactive. But the threat is higher because of our open border than it ever has been before. And it means that the new Secretary of Homeland Security has a much larger job than he would have had 4 years ago.
You know, I've been told, I've listened to many experts since the horrible attack, and the term soft target has been used more than once, Congressman, that the United States is currently a soft target. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. A free society is a soft target. You know, you go to some place like Syria where everything is looked at, or Russia, or quite frankly, even Great Britain, where they have a massive amount, millions of cameras that look at their people and evaluate every minute. So no question, we're the freest country. We are the potentially most vulnerable.
So with that in mind, and as you said, it's very difficult to prevent these lone wolf type of attacks. I mean, what can you do?
Well, quite candidly, I said it earlier, AI gives us the ability to go through massive amounts of data without being unfair to people, but look for these patterns and find a great many of them. Will we find them all? No. Would we have found this one with his own declaration? Very possibly. And remember, explosives are something that's a controlled product. We absolutely, the alcohol, tobacco, and fire, instead of trying to stop law-abiding people who are buying guns legally, looking for people who are sourcing explosives or components for explosives, that's key. And we need to get, in the new administration, a real emphasis on exactly that. Look for clandestine
Congressman, we're going to have to cut you
purchases.
off.